Hi everyone, Catherine here from Inky Finger Cat, back with another 30-day Christmas card making challenge. Now, Martin's challenge for today was called Caroling Crew. I had not got a single thing that I could use for caroling. I went through my stuff several times, and in the end, I thought, well, let's go and buy myself a digital stamp. So not ideal because I'd hoped to do most of this challenge without buying anything new, but it's not quite worked. So I have bought this digital stamp, which is from All Dressed Up, which is one of my favourite. They're so cute. The little illustrations from All Dressed Up. This one actually came as 4 different stamps. So you've got the one with the 3 of them, and then you've got each girl as an individual. I just printed out the one of the 3 of them because caroling crew cannot be a crew on their own. And I'm just colouring them with pro markers to start off with. I actually did this in my lunch break at work. I was working from home today, and managed to get this one coloured at lunchtime, including the little bit of painting that I end up doing too. So I kept it quite simple with some like ready pink. It's sort of a very cerise red, if that makes sense. It's definitely more pink toned than anything. And then browns, and kept it fairly neutral because I decided this was going to be a super shimmery card, and I wanted to use the shimmer paints that I found when I was tidying up my craft room a month or so ago. Just for those of you who are following along with the craft room declutter and tidy up, yep, it's paused. It's been a very busy few weeks for work, and I've just not quite got the energy back yet to start again. So I wouldn't say that you can't tell that progress has been made, because you definitely can, but the reality is my room has still got lots of work to be done. And hey, at least I've not reaccumulated a massive pile on the floor like I had before. Anyway, I digress. I'd found these shimmer paints, which were just cheap ones from, sorry, this is me just adding in a little bit of grey touches to the bits of white. I found the shimmer paints they're from Hobbycraft. They were not expensive, just shimmer watercolour paints, and they're fab. Just spray a little bit of water, activate the paint with your paintbrush, and you get this fabulous pearlescent kind of effect where the mica settles. Can I also apologise for any squawking you might hear in the background of this? My daughter and my husband are playing on the PlayStation next door, and she does not get invested in the games that they play, so we get all sorts of squawking noises coming from her. So I decided to pretty much go over a few elements. All of the red I went over with the bright sort of pinky red colour. Then I used sort of a goldy fawny colour and added that to some of the brown parts, and then I added the sort of pale gold to little elements. It's sort of like a beige almost, to the sort of snowy brim of the hat, etc. But yeah, just added some pearlescent touches to my colouring. And then that was lunch over and done with. I had already eaten my lunch, to be fair, and left it on the side to dry. Now, this is much later, same evening, same day. This is literally about 20 minutes ago. I had only printed it on paper. I hadn't printed it on cardstock in error. I have all sorts of problems with my printer. It doesn't like to work all the time. So I glued it to some cardstock, and now I am off finding a frame that I can cut the image out with, because I did not want to just cut it and trim it by hand. I ended up going with a square, and I actually go with this, which is just about the right size. I probably should have cut a slightly bigger piece of cardstock, but never mind. It works, it's fine. And then I decide I'm going to go with pink colours. So even though I'd coloured it with a red, it was a pink toned red, and I decided pink was the colour I was going to go with. So I've cut myself some cardstock. I was originally going to do a pink card base. You'll see a bit later I sort of mess that up a little bit, but instead, these dies are cheap ones I've bought off Amazon. They're not very good. They do tend to warp a little bit. anyway, I've left a few of them sort of attached to each other. So this I cut like a double frame. It looks a bit daft, but I like the way I finished it. I did stupidly think, oh, I'll just sort of tape it into place like this, but it doesn't work, and I end up messing it around, which probably doesn't help with why it sort of ends up being a little bit loose as a frame at the end, because I then have to pull it apart. I create a panel for the background, and then this is me creating the card blank. I went far too hard with that tool, and I did slightly tear the cardstock, so gave up on that as an idea and instead just cut myself a panel. And then again, I am just going to add it to a white card blank that's a 6x6 card blank instead. Now, I wasn't quite sure what to do, but I fancied this sort of stencil, and I thought, do you know what, let's go shimmer. I'm not the biggest fan of using shimmer sprays. I love them, but any kind of spray inks of any kind, I'm just not very good at going easy with them. And so they end up bleeding, and I never get a great image when I do it like through a stencil like this. But I decided not to give up and to just create a loose finish. And then I went over the whole thing with the other colour, which is kind of like a iridescent white colour. Clearly it's not white, as in it's not opaque. It's got kind of a silvery finish to it. And that's what I did. Now, I have speeded this whole thing up quite a lot because I did faff around doing all of the washing up, making sure that all of my shimmer spritz was all cleaned up, etc. So I did do quite a lot of faffing around, and I've cut that out. Now, I realised I'd picked up the wrong panel size. I picked up the bigger one instead of the smaller one, and I wanted to frame it. You'll have seen there I did tear a little bit, and I have a right old mess with my ATG because I used sort of some washi tape to stick the stencil to the panel, and obviously it wasn't quite dry, so my ATG sort of like stuck to the paper and ripped it a bit, but it was only on the back. It's perfectly savable. This is the point where I now take the frame off that picture, and yeah, a lot of faffing around. I shouldn't have bothered trying to stick it down. I don't know why I did. So I'm going to stick it to my panel, and then I am going to add those frames, and I'm going to add each of them individually using some dots of glue just to stick it into place. But you can see there how kind of warped it is. It's not ideal. Really what I should have done was stop being lazy and just cut myself another die cut. I shouldn't have carried on with it. But the way I finish it is with some glitter glue, and it kind of makes it fine. It kind of makes a feature of the gaps and the not quite straight nature of this thing. It's fine. Now, at this point, what I should have done was thought about what I was going to do and added the little charm at this point, but instead I go ahead, stick it down, even though I know in my head I'm going to add that snowflake charm that I'm going to add in a second. I remember it at this point and think, oh, I should have stuck that down already. Just enough time, the ATG tape had stuck, but not too bad. So I was able to pull it up gently, and then it still adhered back into place. It was on some sort of like red and white baker's twine. To be honest, there's not enough of it showing to know that it was red, and because there is red on their outfits, I'm not so concerned, because obviously it goes with that cerise pink kind of look. And this is where I then go in and add glitter glue. Now, a couple of challenges ago, let's just think, it was probably a week or so ago, might have even been longer, I did lots of glitter glue, and yeah, I'm great at sticking my finger in the glitter glue. So I did choose at this point, I'm only doing it at this point. I'm not doing it earlier, I'm only doing it after everything's stuck down, except for forgotten the sentiment. So I decided not to faff around and just to use one that was already die cut and stamped. It was already stacked, but I noticed that this one that I've just stuck over the top, the one that was on the bottom was not exactly die cut perfectly, and I thought, well, let's just have a really chunky sentiment instead. I do have to stick my little what's it called, acrylic block on the top, just to hold it in place a little bit longer, because it did want to lift up because it was over the top of those die cut frames. And then I've just added some gems, and that is my card. Now I hope you can see how much shimmer there is. I absolutely love it. Look how bright and shiny. It's so cute. I mean, it's the most gorgeous little image anyway, but yeah, what a beautiful, beautiful shimmer I've got on both the images and then in the background. It works so well together. So I hope you've enjoyed that. It was one of those slightly messy, made a few mistakes, but managed to rescue it kind of projects. Do you have those too? Please let me know that you do so I don't feel alone. And now all that I've got to say is please subscribe to see future videos. Please do. Lots coming up. But until next time, thanks for watching. Bye bye.